Today, we're inviting back Anja Phoenix, the creator of Tail Trails, because she's just created and is about to launch three new trails, which are all based around the west coast of Cumbria. So, good morning, Anja. Could you tell us more about this, please?
Morning, yes. Yeah, really exciting project I'm working on at the minute. So we got some grant funding to create 6 trails in total along the west coast, and it's part of the Connecting Cumbria's Hidden Coast project,
Right.
which is the aim of the project is to help encourage people to visit Copeland, which is the west coast of Cumbria, Copeland Borough Council, and just to sort of help draw people out of the Central Lake District, which is obviously completely stunning and amazing, but also to show them just how beautiful the environments are on the west coast. There are some spectacular places.
They don't realise, do they? A lot of people don't realise that Cumbria's even got a coastline.
Yeah, it's absolutely magical. You say to people, I live in Cumbria or visiting Cumbria, and you just automatically assume it's going to be the Lake District. But yeah, I mean, around the edges, Eden Valley, the Solway, West Cumbria, it's just so wild and so magical. And it does seem quite remote to a lot of people. But really, from the edge of the Lake District, well, the coast, actually, some of the coast is in the Lake District National Park. So it's right on the doorstep if you're visiting even somewhere like Keswick, and the Western Fells.
So I thought it was 3 trails, so it's great. There's 6 trails. Is that sort of like the length of the west coastline, going down up from Ravenglass or somewhere like that upwards? Or
the first 3 are going to be released on April 15th, and they are Whitehaven, St. Bees and Ravenglass. And then the second 3, which will be released in early summer, they are going to be Drigg and Silecroft, which is in the national park. And then we've not decided exactly on the location yet for the last one, but it's probably going to be sort of Haverig, Milham area.
And how long have you been working on these trails? Has it been sort of a long project?
Well, it's been the last year that I've been doing a lot of the research and the mapping and putting all the stories and characters together. Yeah.
So can you give us a little insight into some of the characters, some names and a few works about?
Yeah. So because the bird life is so amazing along the coast, I decided to use different bird species as characters for this one. So for Whitehaven, it's a cormorant, because the first time I did the walk to do the mapping, I looked down from the coast to Tom Hurd's Rock, which is a really iconic little sort of outcrop by the coast, by the harbour, and there were cormorants drying the wings there. I thought, that's a good sign. And then I walked further down to Salton Pit to the end, near the end of the trail, and again there were more cormorants on the rock. So I thought, right, this one's got to be the cormorant's tail. So they're all based on different birds. There's going to be a tern, an oyster catcher, and then I'll leave the others to surprise people.
Yeah. That sounds really interesting then to do it as birds, because I think a lot of your other tail trails have actually been humans of some sort, haven't they? So this will be very different and very appropriate, I would think. Because I think, I personally love Whitehaven because I think it's got such a rich heritage with the kind of rum trade and the magnificent harbour, which was one of the biggest, I think, in Britain at the time. There's so much there, isn't there? And it's influenced so much within Cumbria, like the spices have influenced the cuisine, and it's played a really big part, hasn't it, in Cumbrian history?
Yeah. I had really sort of mixed feelings about doing one around Whitehaven, because I think I had a lot of sort of preconceived ideas of what it would be like and what it would feel like to be there, because I'd only sort of passed through a few times. I didn't know the town very well. But now, having spent the last year, on and off there, I've come to absolutely love Whitehaven. It's one of my daughter's favourite places as well. And it's just so rich, the history there. So, there are some dark times, but it's a fascinating place. And just the harbour, at night time, when we finish mapping, we'll go and get some food and sit in the harbour. And the last time we were there, we watched the fishermen coming in and out, and there was geese sat next to us. It's just the trail of lights going up to the Candlestick. And I absolutely love working and mapping around Whitehaven. I think it's a really fantastic town. Yeah.
And I think the beaches also on the west coast are just fantastic, aren't they? There's some really glorious places. whether you want to take your horse or just stroll and do some beach combing. There's so much there, isn't there?
They're so unique, and each one is so different. You've got places like Fleswick Bay, which is on the St. Bees Trail, which is this hidden cove. I only discovered it a few years ago, and it's surrounded by these huge sandstone cliffs, and there are gemstones on the beach, shiny pebbles, little gems, and smugglers' caves. And then you've got other places like Salcroft, where you can go and gallop your horse, and it's just wild and windswept. Then you've got Seascale with all the magical rock pools, and each little section is completely different. And you've got these amazing harbours, with all this rich heritage as well. And I just think the west coast of Cumbria is completely unique, completely amazing, beautiful, wild. And I just can't see why everyone wouldn't want to go there who comes up to the Lake District.
Yeah, I think it is just a knowledge thing, isn't it? They don't know it's there.
Yeah.
And hopefully your tail trails will help families sort of explore that.
I think other parts of this project, the Connecting Cumbria's Hidden Coast, are really going to open up the area to families. They're going to create a cycle route that goes the length of the coast, and a lot of that will be off-road. And there's places like Muncaster Castle, and it's a fantastic location. I think once people do start to know about it, it'll become very popular.
So what's happening at the launch that's coming up? What are the plans for that?
So that's on the 15th of April. That's going to be under the bandstand at Whitehaven Harbour. And we're going to start off with a little bit of storytelling. So there's each of these tail trails have got 2 or 3 local legends in them. So this one we're based around a lady called Dora Harcourt, who visited during the Georgian period, and she came up from London on her horse and carriage, and it's all about what she experienced when she came to Whitehaven. So I'll do a little bit of storytelling there first, and then Kev's going to come from ancient Britain, and he's going to do some heritage workshops so children can get their hands on things that have been part of the West Coast heritage for thousands of years. And then Laura from the Hiking Household is going to be doing a guided walk, and then we'll repeat that in the afternoon. So there's going to be little activities going on throughout the day.
Yeah,
and free maps, of course. 3 free maps for children to take.
Oh. Well, that'd be great, won't it, for children? Is it half term then? I guess it is it?
Yeah, it's Good Friday.
Yeah. Oh, right. So that's a great day to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully it'll be really bustly.
Yeah, no, this sounds like a fantastic project for you. But, now that you've sort of seen this to fruition, what's next? Have you got other plans in the pipeline?
Well, I think now people are starting to hear about these trails along the West Coast. What's really fantastic is that other organisations have come out and said, you know what, we'd like to be part of this as well. And let's try and get everyone together to create this sort of hub for the West Coast and a central location somewhere online that people can go to find out all about these different things. So we're going to be doing one at Longlands Lake after this project's finished, which again, I had not been to, didn't know existed, but this lovely little lake near Cleator. And it's basically an old, mine, an old quarry that's been filled in, and now it's packed full of wildlife. There's a little forest school there. There's forest trails. It's by the River Ian. It's lovely. So, there's been other people that have approached me and said, is it possible to get some funding for our spot as well? So hopefully it will just sort of grow into this little West Coast hub.
Yeah, and that's good, isn't it? Because I know that you have a charity link as well, don't you? So the more that you do, I guess, the more the charity benefits. Can you tell us a little bit about that charity? It's quite unusual, isn't it? And I don't think many people know about it.
Yeah, so a few years ago, we watched an incredible documentary on the BBC called Baby Chimp Rescue. And my daughter, she was just absolutely captivated by it, as were all of us. And basically, a couple called Jenny and Jimmy Desmond, they started off initially by caring for chimpanzees that had been abandoned on an island in Africa, ex-laboratory chimpanzees. Mm-hmm. And various things have happened over the years, and they're now creating a huge sanctuary for orphaned chimpanzees, predominantly from the bushmeat trade. So, that the mothers would have been killed for bushmeat and the babies would have been removed and sold essentially as pets sometimes. So Jenny and Jimmy, they rescue these chimps and rehabilitate them as best they can, because obviously they're extremely traumatized.
Mm.
And part of that rehabilitation is going to be to create this wonderful sanctuary in the rainforests in Liberia. So yeah, we've been supporting them for a few years now. We started up a Facebook page called Chimp Tuesdays, and me and my daughter and my husband, we made some little videos to help explain to children a little bit about what happens to the chimps and what they need, and the work in Liberia. And it's just taken off from there, really. So I'd love to create a tale trail for them to explain to children what the sanctuary is. I don't think I'm going to get to go over there quite yet, but that'll have to be a remote one initially.
Bit of remote mapping, yeah. Well, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it, if you could do that?
Yeah.
So is that kind of like the vision to do things overseas as well? Would you like to do tale trails across the world?
Yeah, I've had a few inquiries over the years. I had an inquiry from America and then from Bermuda, which was random. And I know there's a few friends of mine in Australia that say, oh, there's so many places that would be fantastic for a tale trail, but it's getting the funding for something like that. Obviously, it'd be a lot more expensive to do that, but yeah, I mean, there's no limit on where you can do them, really. So yeah. I imagine there probably will be an overseas one, and I'd like to start with the Liberia Chimpanzee Rescue and Protection, because I think they're such an amazing charity. And it'd be nice, actually. I was thinking I could sort of do this off my own back, but perhaps I should look for sponsors. So it might be nice if there's a company that would like to sponsor something like that. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that before, but yeah, we'll start with them and see where it goes.
Yeah, because when I visited their website, I get this sense that the couple there really love these chimpanzees as if they're children. It's kind of like a real maternal instinct, and they need that kind of support, it seems, because they are very human in a lot of what they're doing, and they need that kind of the cuddles and the kind of love that is being poured into them. Really, it's very touching what I read. I think so. I think a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, Jenny always says, she'd rather they not be there because they should be with their mothers. But they are an amazing couple that have dedicated their lives to helping them, and they do. Yeah, baby chimpanzees, they share 98% of their DNA with us. They need as much love and comfort as human babies do. So the carers there do an amazing job, and they literally, babies have to be attached to someone, 24/7. Jenny and Jimmy, they sleep with a lot of the baby chimps, and it's absolutely incredible. They're complete heroes.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your next move then? You're looking forward to this event in Whitehaven on the 15th, did you say?
15th of April, yeah.
And then that's your first 3, though. What happens about launching the other 3?
Well, I think we're going to probably wait till June, start of June, maybe around the Jubilee weekend, something like that. So we'll definitely be releasing a date for those next 3, and I'll continue to map the last one around the Millham area until then. So yeah, it's exciting times.
So people looking out for that in the future, should they go to Facebook? Where's the best place for them to get the details of the next launch?
Yeah, so I'll be putting things on the homepage of my website, taletrails.co.uk, and then on the Facebook page as well. And Copeland Borough Council will be putting things out there, and local press and magazines. So yeah, it'll be around, and more information coming soon.
Great. Well, thanks very much for talking to us again.
Thank you.
Keep having you on the show every time you do a new trail. You must tell us about it, and maybe we should focus on some of the ones that you've done in Lancashire at some point and sort of talk about those, because obviously that I went to school in Fleetwood, and I know you've done a trail in Fleetwood, so that'd be really interesting to talk about at some point.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you very much for your time, Anja.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.